Basically, they just made glass morphism legit by incorporating it in their whole UI system. This whole new theme is making me use the start menu.
You will notice that people have shifted from sharp edges to smooth edges, corner edges. There is a reason behind that. Right now, I think the settings, all of the components, and all of the pages have been sorted so well that you know where to navigate to.
Something that the users needed. They needed a simpler interface, whatever they are used to. So this looks exactly kind of like, Android's notification shade that you have. So they had to do this. Hello and welcome everyone to today's session. Today we are going to do something crazy. We are going to start, breaking down Windows 11. My name is Rehan Sangpriya.
Hello everyone, I am Neha Fatima, and today we are going to have a really good time talking about Windows 11. The most awaited discussion, I suppose, because this is really exciting for me and Rehan both. So we are excited to get started with this.
Like, I have been a Windows user from the start. I have tried out Mac as well, but again, because of the cost and everything, it's kind of not that attainable at this moment. But again, yeah, Windows is something that I have been connected with from the starting, and most of the people, like students, basically, Windows is something that everyone can relate to, and also some Linux enthusiasts are there everywhere. So yeah, let's get right into it.
Okay then, let me share my screen and then we'll get started with it. Okay, so let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, great. So let's start with the first and foremost thing, that is the aesthetic. Okay, so let's literally have a moment of pause here because the aesthetics are crazy. Like if you look back into Windows 7, Windows 8 and then Windows 10, when you open your laptop and you're working on it all day, you don't get the same feel as what you get on Windows 11. It's just all the animations, all the little micro interactions, all these icons and the smooth edges, and every single thing is just so pleasing. Basically, aesthetically pleasing. It's amazing. So basically, again, if we talk about aesthetics, if you are not hardcore PC user, if you are not, you don't use your PC that much, like most of us do right now, because again, pandemic, we are all having online classes and we spend most of our time online, talking to people or whatever it is. So if you are a PC user, if you use PC for your classes and anything else too, so this is something that will which will improve your, entire experience. So the aesthetics, I give it a 10, complete 10 for it.
But yeah, like again, this kind of overhaul in Windows wasn't expected at all, because I personally had lost all hopes from Windows and Microsoft or in doing something great for Windows as an operating system. I just thought that they have just lost all hopes and they're never gonna give you a new update, because when the last time it was discussed in one of the Microsoft developer conference and everything, so the major decision that they took was that there were not going to be any new version for Windows. But luckily, because of the new leadership and change in the board and everything that happened, business wise, they actually got a chance to make something different. And especially Satya Nadella played a huge role in this, because Microsoft has been known for not supporting basically openness in the whole OS world. Because when I remember, I used to read a lot about Linux and Windows and operating systems. So when Linux was launched, basically, okay, at that time, it was called Unix in the starting. So Microsoft was totally against it, because again, it undermined their whole power over the industry as an operating system, creator. So, but again, to open their whole, system to developers as well as bringing all new features to Windows, they are finally basically showing kind of gratitude towards people who are using their product. So that's something great. Windows has, and Microsoft has never done that for their users. So this time, for the first time, they have thought about the users first and then for the company. And maybe that's going to be a game changer in the long run.
Yeah, it definitely will be, because again, user experience is everything, and this has been being realized by most of the big companies in the recent days itself. So that is, we are seeing a whole revolution here, which is amazing.
So basically, pandemic again for Microsoft also, it was a great thing to give a design overhaul to Windows 11.
Yeah, so pandemic has changed everything, like most of our major part of our lives, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the next thing, that is glass morphism. So I'm sure all of you are aware of what this design trend is, right? So glass morphism like hit the roof like last year, 2019, I think around November, December, when Mac OS also launched their update. So glass morphism, when it came into picture, a lot of people criticized it. A lot of people, like most designers, fell into the trend, started making new designs. So whenever there's a new design trend out in the market, people just bounce on the opportunity and start making designs, basically UI interfaces and all of that, using that particular effect. So we had new morphism before and a lot of effects going on before that time.
Yeah.
So the minute glass morphism came in, the first question was usability. So whether or not glass morphism is something that we can actually function using. So can we use it in real interfaces, or is it just some design trend that will come and die? So Windows has changed that completely.
Exactly.
I would say. Because again, you see the Windows. Let me show you just a glimpse of how it looks like. So this is the center of the ecosystem. That is what you can see on my screen. So basically, you can see this little smoky glass effect that's going on over here. It doesn't look like our Windows 10 or Windows before that. Like, it's completely different. The effect is like, it's just more appealing. The entire glass morphic effect has been used like properly. It is not also, that kind of glass morphism where it is overboard. It is like equally balanced. They've not gone overboard with anything. They have maintained a very good balance of every single element that they've used in their UI, so that it's just the perfect amount of things that we needed in our UI. So glass morphism is, they've incorporated it and I love it. What's your take on it?
Basically, they just made glass morphism legit by incorporating it in their whole UI system. And we also did like a lot of sessions on glass morphism, making it through HTML, CSS. We did using Figma. We made a huge, whole dashboard with it, some buttons and everything. So yeah, glass morphism was the trend of the 2020 and 2021. Like right now also, everyone is still working on it because Mac OS also, I guess the last one was Big Sur, right? The latest version was Big Sur, and now they have launched Monterey, the new version of Mac OS. So again, in that also you can see all those blurry backgrounds and basically glass morphic kind of effect. But yeah, Windows just took glass morphism to a next level, and the implementation is just bang on. And I'm so glad they got rid of those tiles, those ugly looking tiles, because I never opened start menu. I don't know about you guys, but I personally, I have been using my laptop. This laptop I have had for like 2 to 3 years, and Windows 10 running on it. I never opened start, not even once. I'm not kidding. So just let me know in the chat whether you guys use the start menu or not, because I just used to normally Windows S and search for something, and all my apps were like very simple, pretty simple, and they were all on my taskbar within folders or something. So yeah.
Another thing is, like, if you accidentally press on the Windows button, and it's like basically all the tiles pop up there.
Yeah,
and your entire work is interrupted. That was
exactly. It was not good, and that those tiles and everything, I didn't like that at all. So yeah, like my whole, like right now Windows, this whole new theme is making me use the start menu and making me use the other apps that I have on my PC, because everything that I do is just log into my PC earlier before Windows 11 and then open Google Chrome, and that's it. That's where I used to be. That's it. Nothing else. But now, because of this whole change, I actually like using other apps because of the aesthetics and the pleasing effect that it has. So yeah, basically this is a game changer, because I never liked Windows UI before, but now I love it.
Yeah, I think most of the people will agree to that.
Yeah, never use anything
Depending
from
on
the
the search
start. Nagar says, Anamit also says never, and Sumaya says that depending on the search bar. Correct. Search bar was
That
the
is
only
so
thing
true.
which we used.
Yeah, and it was very annoying. The tile system was just not
Though
something we could deal
Microsoft
with.
still needs to work on its search, algorithm, because it shows sometimes it's just that it shows some irrelevant stuff and doesn't show you like what you need. So what I do is there's a third-party app called UELI. I don't know if you have heard of it. It's like the mega search, or what do you call it on Mac OS? I don't remember. Like universal search with Spotlight search on Mac OS. It's kind of like that for Windows. So yeah, you can try it out. I'm gonna leave it in the chat box. It's called UELI. Just go ahead, Google it, search for it. So yeah, that's also something great that you can add. And with Windows 11, it works really well and even looks really well. So yeah.
We'll surely try that out. So the next thing that we are going to be talking about is a rounded corner. So
rounded corners.
Something that, yeah, for designers especially. So if I open a random window, let me get this one here. So you can see the edge over here. They're completely rounded. So again, a lot of designers don't like it completely rounded. Some people like it completely rounded, and some people like it like this sleek, proper amount of rounded corner edges. So this again, there is a very interesting theory behind rounded corners. So before, if you notice the designs, if you track on to the UX trends and UI designs from early on, you will notice that people have shifted from sharp edges to smooth edges, corner edges. There is a reason behind that. That is because normally when we look into objects that have sharp edges, for example, from the time that we are kids, basically from our very beginning, that is childhood, we are taught that we are basically the sharp edges are harmful to us, right? So take a knife or anything like that, sharp edges are basically harmful. So we have that incorporated in our head. So it has a lot to play with human psychology, how we perceive things. And it takes a lot less cognitive load when we see cornered edges. So when we see cornered edges, it doesn't really, these are things that are very difficult to understand that, do they even impact us in our real life? But they actually do. So designing is all about all of these little things that you never notice, but if you're a designer, you will. So
exactly, like there was a small meme on UX design, UI UX design, that if UI UX design is like joke, okay, it's like a joke. If you have to explain it, then it just doesn't make sense. So yeah, design should just fade away in the background, just like any technology is. It should fade in the background, and you should not even notice it. It should just look good. And yep, the psychology thing also matters, but this looks damn cool, the rounded corners, at least for me, and I totally like it. And like because of this rounded corners, I don't know why, but I have started using the windows not in the whole maximized form, but a little bit from the edges, so that I can see the rounded corners. So I'm gonna definitely somewhere in some forum, I'm gonna write it down on Reddit or somewhere, that we need, even if you maximize the window, we need the rounded edges, just like you have in Mac. And that looks really, really cool.
Yeah, that is cool. So we will be talking about the snap group function as well. That is also a damn cool. So we'll be talking about that.
Yeah.
So about rounded corners, that is it. It is very hard to explain, but know this, that it actually reduces the cognitive load on the human brain when we see sharp edges as opposed to when we see cornered, smooth edges. So there is, a lot of psychology that goes behind it. There is a lot of research and thinking and surveys that go behind this. So kudos to the Windows 11
design exactly team. Also, special mention, can you right click on the desktop, Nia?
Yeah,
they removed refresh. Come on, Windows removed refresh. They still have it in more options, but again, I hate those people who just keep on refresh, right click. It's just so annoying, and they just removed it. So finally, thank you so much, Microsoft, for doing that.
Yeah, people just go, I've seen that a lot.
People go crazy while refreshing their desktop screens. I don't know why. Just refresh again and again.
Yeah, that is something everyone does, but yeah, we have to.
It's very irritating. I'm thankful that Ankit agrees with me. I don't know about others, but yeah, it's very irritating, that refresh, especially the older generation. For it's satisfying. Okay, fine. Some people might like it, so that's why they have given that in more options. So now you have to click 2 times to actually reach there.
You're probably not going to do it now because it's the process has gotten complicated, so you won't do it anymore.
Exactly.
But Windows 11, the refresh function is something that you don't have to see people doing anymore. So let's move on to the next part, that is the widget section, right? So in the widget section, something very new. Let's minimize this screen and open this one up. So this is basically like a personalized feed for yourself. I personally don't use it as much because I'm already dependent on other apps, but maybe I'll start using it in the future. But widgets is a cool thing. Basically all your news and all the trending things and anything that you want.
This widgets, it has a bright future because again, giving the developers what they need. Microsoft is giving the developers what they need. They are giving them some more space to basically interact with the user. So now our native apps can actually make use of this widgets window because this is a new place where they have an opportunity to showcase information in some kind of form, right? So widgets is something that is actually going to change that particular game in the whole developer industry and also the apps that you make. So this is a great opportunity. Right now it just supports Windows native apps like whatever Microsoft provides, like Produce and weather, news, Bing search and all, but no one uses that generally because we are dependent a lot on Google stuff basically, to be precise, because major market share is because of the Android operating system. So we are dependent on the whole Google suite, the apps by Google, like Google Calendar and all. Like I hardly see anyone using Outlook if it's not like from a university level or a corporate level. Everyone just uses the normal stuff that Android provides them. So you'll have a lot of opportunities later, but it looks cool because of the whole glass sheet. Plus touch accessibility is something that they have focused a lot, because all of this right now, because of they're clicking buttons and all, but these are like gesture based animations. Okay, whether it's widget, whether it's start, whether it's the tab bar switching, multi grouping, and whatever it is in this whole Windows 11, they have focused a lot on touch based systems because of the lineup that they have of Surface laptops. So that is also something notable, that they finally gave thought to touch accessibility on Windows.
The icons basically spread out when basically if you are a tablet user,
exactly,
so you switch from your laptop to your tablet version. So the icons spread out so that the touch is it's easier, the space is wider for the icons as well. So that is another very cool feature. And widgets is something, it's an additional feature that can be very usable, and it is nice to have something around here. So that's great. So let's talk about icons and typography. So for the icons, as you can see here already, let me just open Figma and show you the icons that they have used so that we can get a clear view of it. So this is just Figma community file that has already made all these icons. So you can see all the icons over here. These icons have, a very small trace of gradient, and they also have a little bit of a glass morphic effect, as you can see. So if you can see my mouse right now, when I hover over all of these icons on my taskbar, you can see a little glass morphic background appearing in the behind the icons, right? So that is something that they focused on. Again, icons are all rounded corners. They are not sharp. All of them are very aesthetically pleasing. Again, reduce cognitive load. And icons are pretty much, they've not changed them completely. So this is another UX law that says that, when your user interface experience needs to be similar to everything that's out there. So if you had Windows 11 completely change the entire user experience, as in completely change it, you wouldn't be using it because it would be something that is not familiar to you, right? So whenever you open or when you install a new app, if the interface is not a little bit similar to most of the apps that you've already been using, you are going to have trouble using it. So that is why middle-aged people and some people have problems navigating through certain apps because they find it difficult. The experience makes it difficult. So they've not completely changed the icons. They've redefined it. They've made it, look more pleasing, feel more pleasing, and they've also maintained a very nice balance with the icons and typography as well. So typography, I think they've used the Sergio UI typography. Again, there's a lot. If we start talking about that typography, there's a lot into it. But yeah, so icons and typography is a good change in Windows 11.
Yeah, like this was something that they tried to implement with Windows 10 as well. But again, they left out a lot of space because Windows 10 was basically Windows 7 with a new skin. So they made changes to a few parts of the OS, but left out major chunk of it in the old UI system. And that was just, very like the whole system, the whole design theme, everything did not feel homogeneous. Okay, that was the whole problem. But now with all of this new iconography and everything that's here that we have, and now it's all like properly balanced throughout the whole system, and that's something that we were missing in Windows 10. And yeah, this is just amazing now.
Yeah, so I think we can move on to our next thing that we'll be talking about. That is the theme. So again, most PCs provide this, most operating systems provide this already. But yeah, again, they provide dark and light themes for you to choose. You can customize things based on your liking. So let us open up settings. Settings is also something that they've completely modified. Way more understandable, I would say. The settings page before, it was a little bit maybe complex to understand. But right now, I think the settings, all of the components and all of the pages have been sorted so well that you know where to navigate to. So if you want to go to you want to change the display settings, you have to go to display. And if you have to change your other settings, you know where. So basically, they've made it more accessible for the user, which is amazing.
Exactly, like in the settings, like I had the most of my complaints with the settings panel because right, like still you have the control panel, it's there with new icons and stuff. Control panel, everyone knows what control panel is. That's the main system of this. But now settings app actually matters. Okay, earlier it was just there for show, one of the UWP apps, basically the modern window UI apps that were there. But now they have finally made something good out of it, and the settings is actually accessible, and you can basically do stuff in the settings menu, like where to go. And especially with the use of breadcrumbs, like they brought breadcrumbs back in a window, and that's something that has not been done for a long time in like a system app, basically, because everything has been like navigating through buttons or something. So breadcrumb was a great move here, going back to the basics, because that has been proven to be quite stable and also quite proper thing to use when navigating. Like right now also major websites still use breadcrumbs, like blogging websites and also that's a proven thing that's out there. So that was a great move by Microsoft to do that. And also the categorization, earlier you had a lot of like categorization on different ways. Basically you did not have one set of categorizations, like you have one set with like 10 categories. You had multiple sets of categories, and that just messed everything up. But now they have decided finally what goes where, and then they're also clear about it, and we are also now happy about the whole setup that they have given.
Yeah, I would say the categories before were named very vaguely.
Yeah,
because it was very difficult to understand and navigate. So now the naming is also done properly, so that users can actually navigate and get what they want to get done. So that is a very cool feature that they've added to. So let's talk about the main thing now, that is the centered navigation in the taskbar.
Yeah.
So should we have a poll before we discuss it?
Yeah, sure. Like okay, so in the chat box itself, just write down whether you like the old because you can do that still in Windows 11. So what are you rooting for? Basically, what would you like, centered taskbar or the good old left aligned taskbar, icons and everything? Let's see. Center.
Okay. Do we have any left aligned people here? Okay. We have one.
Okay, one left aligned. That's great. Others, I guess, almost like majority people would say center because of how cool it looks. But yeah,
Yeah.
I was also kind of in the starting when the whole thing was center and left align and everything, so it took time basically to get used to this. Yep, exactly. I was also used to left line, but again, it took some time. But after that, I was okay with it being in the center. Because again, I never used the start button before. So, yeah, depends on your screen size as well.
Yeah, it does depend on your screen size. So again, yeah, if you have a small screen, center align might not be very convenient for you. But yeah, most screens, if you do not have a lot of apps pinned to your taskbar, then I think it works fine. But yeah, the major thing behind centering all elements, it has a lot to do with the branding as well. Because again, when we open our system, we don't think, okay, Windows, we're working on Windows, okay, this is happening, and we don't even use the start menu and all of it. But because the idea behind it, basically based on what the designers of Windows 11 have said, they wanted to make Windows the center of our ecosystem, that is our work life. So basically, most people these days use Windows itself because, yeah, again, it is more economically feasible. So again, yeah, most PC users use Windows operating system, and yeah, they wanted to make it, a center of our ecosystem, which means that we know that we are working on Windows. So there's a lot to do with personalization. So what they're trying to do is build a connection so that users are actually connected with the brand, right? If you talk about other brands, if I give you an example, so Coca-Cola, when we talk about Coca-Cola, which is a brand, Pepsi or Coca-Cola, these brands, we drink their beverages a lot, right? So we immediately picture their logo or their brand or their color in our head. So that is what they're trying to do here. They're trying to build a connection behind this, which is fine. But also, apart from branding, the accessibility is way better, because every time you have to go to the start menu, even if you're not using the keyboard shortcut, you'll have to go all the way to the left of the screen. But now it's all in the center, so it's more easily accessible. Apart from that, I think the grouping is also done very well, because again, this is another law which states that you need to have elements that perform similar functions. So all of these are links. These are navigations that we have to different apps, right? So if I have WhatsApp or Notion or any of these apps, these are navigating to different windows. So all of these are put together in a group so that I know that the functionality is similar. So there is a lot of thought that goes behind this as well. But yeah, I think this is a good move. Most users like it. It is a little bit difficult as to get used to, because that is something that we struggle with most of the time. Most users struggle with when you have a little bit of change, but then eventually you adapt to it. So I think it's fine.
Also, like centering the taskbar, it has to do more with, I guess, peer pressure as well, because majority of users, they have an Android device, and most of the Android devices, or basically if you talk about the stock skin that we have in Android, the major chunk of people, they have that swipe up app drawer. How many of you use that swipe up app drawer? Let's see. Out of all the people present here, let's see, like, how many of you have that swipe up center or something like button, then the app drawer comes where you use your apps from. So like most of the population, they have that simple functionality, because a very small amount of people, they are more into customizing the whole thing, everything, and they add custom launchers and everything. But yes, because of that also, that is one thing. The other one is the tiles were not working at all, because they tried launching it on Windows phone as well, with partnership with Nokia and Samsung and everything that happened. It was a huge flop. So they knew that the tiles are not going to work, and their concept of live tiles was great, but again, widgets are going to take over that. Widgets are going to help you out in that space for Windows as well. But again, then you have your biggest competitor, that is Mac OS. So you need something, no, because the audience, the users are demanding it from you. They need that, because they are seeing that, okay, Mac OS looks good in this way, and all of the accessibility features that you get. You're having the option of centering it properly. So that is something that they had to give their users. So that was kind of a pressure on Windows as well as Microsoft to do this for users, because users were demanding it because of the kind of usability that other OS provides them on different platforms. Even Chrome OS, if you have used it, they have a centered app tray, basically. That's what they call it on Chrome OS. So they had to do it just for the sake of competing with other platforms. They had to have that option. That's why they have kept both left align and center align. So the hardcore Windows users can still get it back to the left align position and then use it as always. But the new modern, those who want the modern look and feel and something, they might feel home at, like the thing that they said, this should be the center of your workspace, basically your ecosystem. So that is what they did. Plus also special mention to all the small changes that they did in the notification panel and the basically the icons and whatever they have added in the right side of the taskbar, like the Wi-Fi selection and everything that they have done this time, if you have a look at it. So you see, they have made it more accessible, and like they have made it kind of like Android, if you have to say, both taking notes from Android as well as Mac OS. But this is again something that the users needed. They needed a simpler interface, whatever they are used to. So this looks exactly kind of like Android's notification shade that you have. So they had to do this because users are demanding it. They don't want that huge ugly bar sliding in. So they had to do this. Now, if Windows is taking notes, I'm just putting it out there, we need folders in taskbar. I don't know if you agree or not. Just like you can create folders on your home screen in Android, or even in the navigation, the bottom bar that you have, that you select some apps and you have folders. It's not going to take a lot. Like a simple folder where you can just combine your apps and keep it on the taskbar, click on it, and then again, similar to what we are seeing right now on the screen, a glass morphic kind of shade comes up, the card comes up with all the apps in it. That would be pretty cool in Windows.
I think I agree. That is something that they can definitely incorporate, which is going to be, it will increase accessibility, because again, if you want to navigate to one particular folder, you'll have to go to the file explorer.
Like again, as I said, I don't want to open start menu. I don't want to open it as much as I do right now. I don't want to do that. I want like whatever apps, because I have limited apps that I use and I want them at my fingertips, whenever I want to use them. And I don't want that the third-party app which I suggested, I don't want to use that. I don't want to depend on that, because that is also like a third-party app. It might, stop the support later on, or the development might stop, whatever might happen with it. So if that, folder feature is there, I can categorize my apps. The taskbar can be less cluttered instead of, having a lot of apps spread out through the whole center. So that might be a good addition to this whole new UI. And again, with glass morphism, it's going to look cool.
Yeah. That is there. That is something that they can definitely use. So let's see if they actually do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So another thing that is damn cool is the animation. So if you can see, maybe I increase the size of this and show you how it opens. So you can see the icon jumping over here. I'm not sure if you are able to clearly see the animation, but when you click on these icons, they have a little bounce, and look at the smooth animation. Look at how smooth the entire transition is.
Exactly.
I've been ripping on this for like days now since I got Windows 11 on my system. But yeah, this is something that we can, completely enjoy. Again, designers might, find it a little more interesting.
Basically, like Windows 11 is a delight for designers and also developers because of the things that they have added with Windows 11. We'll talk about that also towards the end, how it's going to benefit the developers and what all great things are in store for developers for Windows. But again, designers, this thing is a treat.
Yeah, definitely is. So another thing that we need to talk about is the snap group function, right? So let me show you how it basically works. So when you hover over the maximize button of a window, why is it not working? Does it? Okay, let's open the browser and see.
Yeah, Figma is a Chromium based app, so that's not implemented on that in the preview.
Yeah. So okay, so this is my browser. So when I hover over the maximize button, you can see all of these different snap group functions that I can see. So I can have 4 screens side by side, or I can have 3, I can have 2. So however it is, so this increases functionality and allows us to multitask greatly. So this is something, so if I want one thing on the right side and on one thing on the left side, I can do that. Or maybe if I want to go back and get free screen side by side on my system, I can do this and it will show me the other functions as well. Why is it not working? Bug.
The whole thing is just the multitasking. They have like thought about this a lot, because people prefer sometimes Windows PC over Mac because of the kind of customization options you get in Windows, and also the freedom of multitasking properly in Windows is basically a lot. So that's why even I prefer Windows over Mac in that area, because you are not going to get that kind of freedom to work on all of this. So yeah, that's one thing. The thing is, Figma has a defined width, so you cannot make it smaller than that. That's why it's not attaching itself. So yeah, there are a lot of bugs. So this is a insider preview of Windows 11. It's still not available for public download. For those who are wondering, it's still not available for public download. You can still download it on your PC, but it has a lot of bugs, trust me, and your PC might lag a lot, even if you have like a great spec PC, but still it's gonna lag a lot. So if you want to try it out, you can do that through Windows Insider program. So just go Google, check it out, and if you want, you can get Windows 11 from there. But again, it's gonna be a total mess right now. The only thing that's good, it will look cool. That's it. So I would suggest that you wait for at least the beta build, because even that is not out yet. This is just the developer preview of Windows 11 that we are using right now.
Yeah. So what this Snap Group does is that it creates another option for you. So apart from just the window that you've opened, it also makes a selection of the groups the windows that you've put side by side. So there's another thing. So if you use multiple monitors or multiple display, systems, what it does is basically normally what happens is that basically when you're connected to the cable and you have two displays and maybe you have to disconnect it. So all of the windows get disrupted and you can't put them back in place. So you have to arrange them one by one again. I'm not sure if you're understanding what you're saying, but what I'm saying, because if you have experience with using multiple displays, you would know this. But again, what it does is when we plug the cable back in, it places the windows right as how they are right now. So if I have 3 windows on my screen, it will show exactly like that when I plug my cable back in. So that is an extremely
basically like a window location memory kind of feature that Microsoft has enabled in Windows 11. So if I have arranged my windows properly on 2 different, I have my laptop screen here, I have my external display here. So if I have arranged something properly, but as soon as I remove the cable, everything's gonna mess up properly. And with Windows 10, if you again plug in your monitor, external display, whatever, it's not gonna rearrange itself. But in Windows 11, it's gonna remember what method you used based on the display you're attaching. So I tried it out with multiple monitors. So once I attached one monitor, so I placed 2 apps side by side on the other screen and 2 apps here on the main screen. And when I removed it and again connected it again, all of the apps and everything, it arranged properly the way I did it. Then I connected another monitor. So basically it will be properly stored according to the device as well. So the next monitor that I attached, I rearranged different apps, and on that it rearranges back to those apps. So that means you have not only the location but also the device memory in Windows 11. So that's really cool, because if you are someone who has different setup somewhere at your home and your office setup, you have another monitor or something, so the whole setup thing is never gonna mess up for you, and you can just plug it in immediately and get right into your work without any kind of delay of arranging everything here and there, drag and drop, properly arranging windows. That thing is not going to happen at all.
Yeah, that's a very useful feature. So again, I love the feature and it is very useful, so that's amazing. The next thing that we are going to talk about is the sound of the entire system. So
exactly,
the start sound and all of that. So I wish I could show it to you, but right now it's not possible. So the sound before this went down, dung dung, and you remember the sound, how basically when the Windows 7 or 8, I think the sound initially was like that, and Windows 10 too, the sound is very not very pleasing to the ears. It's like it's going to burst your eardrum. But right now, they've changed the frequency of the sound, and it sounds very pleasing as well. You can go check it out on YouTube, the sounds and all of it. So,
yeah. You have a
the
whole
launch video,
like proper launch video is also there with different sounds, and then you have other people making proper videos on the sounds that they have implemented. Plus, basically, the notification sounds or whatever sounds, they feel like it's a system sound and not like something is gonna burn down your house or something is happening like that. Okay, because earlier notifications are basically to remind you that okay, something came slowly. Okay, like someone tapping on your shoulder. That's a notification for you. That's what I feel. Notification is basically someone tapping. Bye. Yeah. That's notification, right? But earlier it was like someone slapping you from behind. Notification aaya bhai. So that is not there in Windows 11 anymore. That was the actual feeling with Windows 10 sounds. So they have worked a lot on the sounds as well. So basically, overall, Windows 11 has worked. There's nothing changed internally, basically. Okay, everything remains same. The only change is the whole design overhaul and making it look better, feel better, and basically now I want to work more on my Windows PC. That's what even Microsoft was trying to do. That is what they're trying to do with Windows 11. That they want you to spend more time on your PC, so that, and because this is where you're working, so you should like where you work. Okay, it's kind of like your own workspace right now because of this whole remote thing going on because of Corona. So they wanted it to make that experience a little bit better with their new designs. So kudos to Microsoft for doing that.
Yeah, most Windows users just aspire to buy an Apple system and shift to Mac OS mostly. But this has actually been a game changer. So I would say I really like the entire UX, especially all of these little features, the animations, the rounded corners, the Microsoft Store as well. So they'll also be incorporating Android apps.
Exactly.
So after that, I doubt anyone will be using their phones as well. Apart from calling and normal communication, I don't think most people will be using their phones as well if the Android app feature is available in the Microsoft Store.
Yeah, they're trying to properly merge Android with Windows, because they know you have an Android device or an iOS device, so they want to basically somehow integrate your mobile devices to your PC, just like Apple has their own ecosystem that you start doing some work on your phone and then you can resume it on your laptop or iPad or whatever. So their ecosystem, that's what they are known for. Apple is known for their ecosystem. That's the top thing for them. In the same way, Microsoft is trying to implement that through giving out all of these things like Android apps on your PC. Like right now also, my whole day just goes on my laptop. Only like sometime I pick up my phone to check either Instagram or maybe LinkedIn or something. Otherwise, I'm most of the time on my laptop, and that is where I use everything. So if I get the opportunity to launch all the Android apps that I use on my phone on the laptop, definitely I'm gonna stick to laptop only because of the screen size and the kind of accessibility I get. So that's a plus point. So yeah, that's gonna be a really great thing to see. And apart from Android apps, not just Android, they are creating like a discoverability feature for all the different options available. You have progressive web apps, you have bundlers, you have packages, you have exe files, normal files, and they are allowing every developer, different kind of developer, to test it out. And the best part is that the developer commission is basically zero. So they are not going to take anything from the developer, and developers can integrate their own payment gateway systems, their own in-app purchases and anything. Microsoft is not going to stop them. So that is something great for developers. That's really, really great news.
Yeah, that is actually a very important feature. It was about time that we, had these things incorporated again for the developer community and the designer community. I think this is an amazing revolution. Also for normal users.
But again, I read it yesterday in a newspaper that Google is gonna change their Android app bundling process and also publication process. So basically, right now we all use APKs, right? So we download APKs that is installed, and we can sideload APKs from other websites like APK Mirror or something if you have checked that or some use that. But now they are shifting to AAB. Okay, so AAB is going to be a little bit different, where right now in a package, Android package, APK, you download the whole app, everything you download, even if your mobile is of 64-bit kind of architecture, you still download every single format that they have in the package, and then you use just the ones that you basically that your device requires. With that AAB, it will be like selective, so you're gonna download just the part that you require. So like if you need if your screen type is AMOLED, so you're gonna use that AMOLED feature kind of app, whatever that requires. So this is going to create a lot of problems for Microsoft because they're solely dependent on APKs, and even Google has directed that from the first week of August this year, whatever new uploads of apps and all are going on, they'll be start accepting AAB, and they'll stop APKs, I guess, towards the end of the year. So Google has taken this step recently. This is what I heard in the news. You can go check it out again, verify it. But yeah, that's something that's going on. So let's see what happens in this whole ecosystem with Microsoft, Google, and everyone trying to give their users a proper experience overall. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think we've covered most of the things for Windows 11. We can have more sessions like this, breaking down other UX surfaces as well. So let us know if you'd like that in the community itself.
Exactly. This, and also this whole video will be available for you on YouTube to rewatch if you missed any part, or if you want to just go back to it and understand some process or anything, you can just go back to it on YouTube and figure it out. So and those who are watching it on YouTube right now, after like it has been uploaded, consider liking the video and also share it with others so that they also benefit from this whole interaction that we just had about Windows 11 and its features basically. And also let's make that folder thing happen. So some people try to do that, to bring refresh back hashtag. So in the same way, we want folders in taskbar, you can do that. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for joining in. Consider subscribing the channel as well. And also we keep on having discussions. So if you just want to continue this whole topic later on and discuss more with other people in the community itself, so join the community if you haven't yet. I'm going to leave the link to the website in the chat box. You can check it out. And the links are also going to be down below in the description for the YouTube viewers, so you can check it out later. And you can join the community. There we do all of these fun discussions every Wednesdays and Saturdays and in the evening at 5:30. So it's a lot of fun. And also whatever next topic you want us to break down, you can just leave it there in the community itself. So yeah, thank you so much for joining in today.
Thank you so much for joining, everyone.
We'll see you guys in the next one.